There. So, what I wanted to talk to you about today is to do a strawberry garden guide for beginners and share what knowledge that I have gotten over the past 3 years of strawberry gardening. This here is our second bowl of early bearing strawberry fruit, and you guys can see their beautiful size. I mean, they are they're so sweet. I wish that you guys. Now, these, just so that you are aware, are my smaller strawberry plants. These here are not the large strawberries. We do have garden beds that grow the big, juicy, sweet strawberries, but they will not be ready for harvest until another about 3 weeks. But this video is specifically for any gardener out there who maybe never planted strawberries before and they kind of, want any type of a tip how to successfully start your own garden. And I want to say you do not need a big space to grow strawberries. You do not need any big space. So this garden right here, this fruit is only 4 feet by 4 feet, and you guys know that's not big at all. There's a couple different things you have to decide before you start your strawberry garden. Do you want to dig out the ground and go from there? Or do you want to save yourself a lot of work and lay cardboard and start a brand new strawberry garden on top of the cardboard, which is going to mean you're going to have to bring in soil and compost to get the strawberries started. My recommendation, because I've done both, I've done strawberry gardens on top of cardboard, and I've also done strawberry gardens where you take off the whole first layer of grass and then you go from there. Now that requires you to till the property. It's a lot of work. So it depends on many things. Your health. Are you physically able to do that? You know what I mean? Because the easier way is definitely find your patch in the garden. Maybe you only start off 2 feet by 2 feet. Maybe you'll only start with 10 plants. I don't know. But decide in your head what you want to do. Do you want to go directly into the ground or do you want to go on top of the ground? If you want to go on top of the ground, another nice clean tip, I've used it. We have this in our backyard. We have 3 plastic kiddie pools from Walmart. We have about 50 drainage holes. Go crazy with the drainage holes if you're going to use the pool. You do not want soggy soil. You do not want the strawberries to be root rot. So it really needs proper drainage. Go crazy with the holes. If you think you have enough, do 30 more. You know what I mean? A kiddie pool is the easiest. So that's what I'm going to go off of today. If you want it in the ground, you know your basic ground prep. Make sure all the grass and weeds is out of there and do your whatever size of garden you're starting with. And then make sure you have nutrient density in there. So if you plan to start a strawberry garden next summer, my advice, get it ready this summer and go to the beach. Load up on like 3, 4, 5 garbage bags full of seaweed. It's completely free and it's so mineral and nutrient dense. Seaweed is amazing compost and it has so much beautiful minerals and salts from the ocean. And also, it composts down over the winter. So you're ready to roll and plant your things next summer. Also, if you have a cafe anywhere nearby, bring in a bucket to them and ask them if they can fill your bucket with the coffee grinds. Again, that's another free trick to use. And the coffee grinds are such a great compost to any garden, not just a strawberry garden. Plus, it's acidic. So, another thing to compost, if you want to throw in some, what is that called? Peat moss. That helps to absorb liquids too, so that you don't get root rot. You don't want to do a lot of peat moss because it does make the ground. Peat moss is great for blueberries, but you don't want to add too much for strawberries. So, get your good soil. If you want to get your sand for free, You can go to a sand pit and just dig a couple of buckets of sand and bring it home. But if you're not wanting to do the labor, or if you can't and you can afford to buy bags of soil, go get a few bags of Mega Soil or Miracle Grow. But then with that, mix in your composting items like the seaweed, the coffee grinds, any type of like chicken manure is great to mix in with that. Also, while you're at the beach, get yourself a couple of buckets of beach sand, because that beach sand is such a beautiful addition. Once you actually plant your strawberries and the plants actually start growing above ground, that's when you add your beach sand just to the top layer only. So, next decision you have to decide, there's so many different varieties of strawberries. Now, strawberries are perennials. They're going to come back every single year and they're going to spread. If you start with a 4x4 garden and you want to keep it there, then you're going to have to do the work by cutting the runners that are trying to grow outside of your 4x4 garden, because it is in their genetics to grow and have life and spread, and they do an amazing job. Now, the places where I put my gardens, it's okay for them to spread. It's completely okay. I'm happy with it. And I do keep up with any type of weeds. As soon as I see a weed, I haul it out. I do not allow it to get overwhelming. And also what I'll do, so I go to our local nursery, and at the very beginning of summer, because these sell out really quick, they're bundles of bare roots. That's what they're called. So I don't start with strawberry seeds, and I don't start with full strawberry plants from a hanging basket. I do not recommend that at all. What I recommend, if you want to do a strawberry garden and if you want to do it right, to have beautiful fruit that's not rotting and that has room to grow and breathe, is go to your nursery at the beginning of summer before they sell out, and they sell bundles of 25, and they're called strawberry bare roots. The best one is Kent's or Everbearing. So whichever one you choose, I mean, there's probably 10 other kinds at your nursery, but for me, I use Kent's and Everbearing. I've tried a couple other different ones, but my top two is Kent's and Everbearing. And what you want to do, it's a whole root, and the roots are about this size right here. So they're pretty big, and they're all in clusters, and there's an elastic around them. So you take your elastic off and you lay out all your roots, lay them out nicely, and then spritz them with some cold water so that they're damp. By this time, your garden already has to be prepared. Make sure your soil has no weeds, no grass, that you had all the nutrients that you were going to put in it. And now you're just going to dig your hole to plant your strawberry root. But this is how you're going to do it. Let me set you up here so I can hopefully show you. So let's say this Kleenex right here is the strawberry root. I'm sorry, guys. I don't have really anything to hold you up better. Okay. This Kleenex is the strawberry root, and the strawberry root is about this long anyway, and it's pretty wide. So the head of the strawberry root, which is this part right here, the head, make sure you have your fingers over it like this, because you cannot let any of your soil or dirt go anywhere above here. Whatever your size of your thumb is, see the size of my thumbnail? That's pretty big, right? So that's how much you got to cover with your fingers here. And the rest of this gets covered underground. And a lot of people do a mistake in planting the root like they do every root. Put it down standing. No, strawberries can get root rot so easy. So you want to take the root and put it sideways like this. Put it on your soil and cover it with soil while you're still holding the tip. And the tip is well above the ground, but the root is sideways and fully covered, and then you just press gently down on the dirt, and that lets the roots know that, hey, you're in a bed of soil and you're ready to continue on your journey of growing and spreading. But the whole time, remember, this is what a lot of people don't do, and this is why a lot of the strawberry plants die. Okay? Make sure you have a full thumbnail covered the tip of the root, okay? Because if that gets buried, your whole plant will die. And the roots, you want to make sure you lay them out sideways like this on your hole and then cover that. But do not put your roots straight down because that's when they get waterlogged and root rot. So as long as you do it this, sorry guys, Coco, come here now. Come here. Come here. Stay out of that window. She can't be in the window because any person she sees, even if it's a leaf blowing by, she'll bark at them. Coco, don't you dare go in the window. Yeah, guys, so on the ground, your plant right here, the strawberry tip, is going to be above the ground. And this part is where the plant grows out of the ground, the greenery and the fruit right here. So the rest of the plant, as you guys can see, the rest of the root system is underground but sideways. And your dirt is covering that nicely. About this much dirt, at least this much dirt covering your root system. But again, this is built up and there's nothing covering this at all. This, a thumb length. You want to make sure that's above and this is all covered nicely with your soil and that the roots, instead of going straight down, they're sideways. So this here, if all you did is that, you're going to have at least successful in one area because your plant's going to thrive and be happy. Our summers are really weird. There's different times now when you get extreme heat for days on end. That is like not just heat, not just the summer's heat, but extreme heat. And then you're going to get days where you might get a week or more of extreme rain. So a lot of plants where they would be getting waterlogged and kind of droopy and dying because they're waterlogged. As long as you planted your strawberries the way I showed you with the roots literally sideways instead of going down, they will survive and they will do okay. So that is one of my biggest tips. Have your good soil. Make sure it's soil that's going to drain, because if you do have ground that has clay in it, you are going to have to go buy the plastic kiddie pool and do your strawberry garden in the kiddie pool. If you have ground that is all rocky, strawberries need soil. They need sand. So it would be easier for you to lay your cardboard down, put fresh soil with compost over top, and then do your strawberry garden over top. So it just depends on all of these things. And here's another thing a lot of people don't realize when they plant strawberries. Strawberries need at least 8 hours of sunshine. One year I made a mistake and I planted strawberries all along the side of my house because we had such a beautiful space there and it filled it up, and the strawberry plants were so thick and big and green and robust, and we didn't get any fruit at all. The strawberry plants were healthy. They're crazy healthy. They're still there. I let them live. And 3 years later, now we're starting to get some fruit. But the reason it wasn't fruiting is because it wasn't getting enough sun. And strawberries require so much energy. They feed off of the sun. So make sure wherever you're planting your garden that it gets at least 8 hours of sun. Make sure you're picking a space that's not under a tree where it's going to be in a lot of shade. Like, have it so that it gets its sun. And then you're going to be successful, because that's one thing a lot of people just don't really pay attention to. They're all excited. Oh, I have the perfect space here. And then come to find out they're not getting a lot of fruit. Well, most of the times the lack of fruit is due to the lack of sun, not enough sun. So, yeah, the best thing for a brand new gardener, I would say go buy a kiddie pool at Walmart. Have severe lots and lots and lots of drainage, and put your fresh soil in it and your compost, and then plop your strawberry bare roots in it. You get a pack of 25. That would fill that entire pool. And like, if you here, I got to share this with you guys too. So once you get all your bare roots planted, it's very important that that first summer You let the plants, the strawberry plants, grow, but every single time you see a white flower, which is going to be the fruiting flower, pluck every single white flower, and I'll tell you why. If you don't, you're going to get strawberries every year. Yes, you will. You'll get an abundant amount of strawberries, but they're not going to be big, because by allowing your brand new strawberry roots to fruit the first year, you're taking away all the energy from the rooting system, and you're forcing your strawberry plant to focus on making that fruit. So if you pluck if you're diligent and all summer long, you pluck every single white flower off of your strawberry plants and you do not allow it to fruit, your second summer, you're going to get such big, beautiful fruit, and it's going to be the size of the grocery store strawberries. That is how the U-picks do it. I got this advice from a successful U-pick plant. Like, the farmer took his time. He told me how to plant the bare roots. He told me which ones were better. He said Everbearing and Kent's. They use Kent's, but he told me Everbearing are good too, so I went with both. He told me how to plant the roots sideways, and he told me the reason why, and it's exactly what I shared with you guys about the root rot, because strawberries are prone to that. Okay, so your first summer, I know everybody's so excited to have them planted and watch them grow, and you want to have fruit the first summer. But if you don't allow it to fruit, if you're diligent with picking all the flowers off, then you're going to get big strawberries the next summer. And your strawberry plants will thank you, because they would have had time to really focus on the rooting system, and that's what they need to focus on. So your first summer, you've planted your roots, you've done it properly sideways, and you made sure the head is above the ground, like a full, 2.5, 3 inches. Then you want to get your buckets of beach sand that you brought, and you want to put beach sand on top of all your soil around every single strawberry plant. Not only, it does a couple things. So that beach sand, every time it rains outside, it allows the salty nutrients and minerals to go into the ground, and it feeds the roots. The second thing that sand does, it helps prevent against ground disease to your strawberries. Beach sand is it's one of the best types of sand. It's not soil, it's actual sand, and it helps keep a barrier from your actual strawberries versus the actual soil ground. Because the soil ground, you get a lot of bugs and a lot of moisture, and it's so easy to get ground disease, and you don't want that. So by putting a nice thick layer of your beach sand around every strawberry plant, you're helping that barrier, and it also insulates the roots. The other thing I do is at the end of the summer, so we're talking about September, I go in with a thick, when I say thick, that's 3 inches thick of sawdust. And you got to make sure it's completely all natural, no spray, no color, no chemicals at all. You can use the stuff that you buy at the pet store. It's the cheapest. You get a huge bag of like sawdust clippings, and I do 3 inches thick, cover the whole bed. You still got to make sure that you're not covering that little head of the plant. Like, by then you're going to have nice big greenery, so you're okay, but you don't want to smother the plant. So put it 3 inches thick around your whole swimming pool, like your whole strawberry garden, but around every center of the plant, this part that's above the ground, go in with your hand and kind of push the sawdust away just enough that you don't smother this, like the head of where the greenery is coming up. Make sure your sawdust is covering everything. It's covering the roots, your whole garden, except every place where the green's coming up. Make sure you go in with your hands and make sure the sawdust, you have room. So that sawdust, you can leave it there permanently for the next years to come. You don't have to take it away in the summer. It keeps your garden clean, and any strawberries that land on it, like for growing, they're not going to get bugs or dirt disease. It's just that's how I do it. Some people use hay, but whatever you choose to use, it's going to really help. You want to do as much protection for your strawberry garden as possible. Plus, it helps your garden not to dry out. It keeps heat in and allows a certain amount of moisture in. And you don't want it too moist, but it balances out. It really does. I've had nothing but success with that, and it's such a blessing. This summer alone, I planted 4 new strawberry gardens, and I'm preparing 2 more for next year, and then I'm done doing strawberry gardens because we'll have more than enough. But what my goal was when I started planting strawberries was not only to have enough for me and my husband, but to have enough to be abundantly sharing with my parents and my grandmother and like our next door neighbor. You know what I mean? I want there to be enough that I could go out there and get a huge salad bowl full today and another one tomorrow. I want to be able to make jam. I want to be able to do strawberry shortcake. There's a lot of people who like to freeze their fruit. For me, there's nothing better than fresh strawberries on frozen. You know what I mean? Look at those beautiful berries. Who wouldn't want something that's going to continue to grow and multiply and just bless your property? You're making, even if you were only to have a kiddie pool full of strawberries and nothing else of fruit in your yard, then guess what? You have a little kiddie pool full of something in your yard that's working for you. That's how I see it. The more you plant in your yard, once you start with the strawberry garden, trust me, I'm warning you right now that you're going to get the fever. You're going to say, "Oh my gosh, I want to do 10 more of those strawberry pools. I want to dedicate a whole section of my yard and do some extra." Like blueberries come back every year. High bush blueberries, you plant them and you're done. They take care of themselves. There's no babysitting. You don't have to worry about weeds. You don't have to worry about anything. Blackberries is another bountiful, very high density nutrient fruit, and they come back every year. They multiply. What else is something else good? There is all different types. If you guys look for your zone, we get winters, we get full out snow, ice storms, and there's kiwis that grow in our zone. You know what I mean? Just whatever, something that you know you're going to eat or your family's going to eat that you can grow to plant in your yard. You can still make your yard look very decorative and very beautiful with growing fruit. So I hope that this live helped anybody who is considering starting their own strawberry garden, and that maybe some of my tips can help you when you're ready to start your own. These are just things for you to think about before you actually start so that you don't have to go through a year and say, "Ah, crap, this was not successful," or "This isn't healthy. Why didn't it work?" I want to save you money. I want to save you time and effort. And hopefully, my tips will help you to have a successful strawberry start. That's my hope. So I hope you guys enjoyed this little live and have a beautiful day. And keep me updated on your strawberry garden. If you decide to start one, let me know which method you went with and let me know how you're doing. So I'll keep you guys updated on the gardens every time I go outside because 'tis the season. Love yous. Take care.